How y'all doing? Welcome to Blackout Podcast. We had the honor to kind of dive into what it looks like having a license. Today, I think we're going to talk about what it looks like before you get a license, all right? Now I'm sitting there with Miss Alexa Guy here. Talk to him.
Today we have a few topics that we've picked for you guys. We're going to talk about online classes versus in-person classes, and then also the importance of picking the right brokerage, and then relationships in real estate. Also, we'll discuss your appearance and how you should move as a real estate agent. And yeah.
Okay. It sounds like we got a lot of powerful
Yes.
discussions. Let's dive into it.
Okay, so online classes versus in-person classes. What is your take on
My take, personally, I like that hands-on approach. When I went to go to Champions School of Real Estate, I was in love with how the instructors kind of told examples of what they deal with. These are seasoned agents, of course, so they got 20, 30 years in the game. They was kind of explaining each market that they went through and things in that nature. I like that touch because it kind of give me an idea of how I should move
Okay.
once I get my license. So I'm more of an in-person guy.
That's cool. It sounds like you picked up a lot of knowledge early
Oh,
on.
yeah.
Me personally, I did online classes, and it's a preference of you, like what you can deal with. Some people prefer to have on-hand training.
Right.
Me, it was about time. So when you have kids and you have life that you have to manage as well as trying to do real estate, you only got certain hours in the day. So with my online classes, I was able to work at my own pace.
Right.
Just to,
Right.
get through the classes.
Right.
And then also with that, I did a lot of outside learning besides just my online classes. I watched YouTube videos.
Right. You got hands on a little bit.
Yeah, I got hands on a little bit. I watched videos.
Right.
I was on Instagram, TikTok, scrolling. What are they doing as real estate agents?
Trying to dive into that world. Nah, I agree. I think it's like you said, it just depends on the person. I think if you're an introvert, some people like the online, and they actually learn better like that. So it just depends on your learning style and how you best gain the knowledge.
Yeah. So, but with that being said, in-person or online classes, you're going to get the end goal, the same end goal.
Right.
You're still going to get your license as long as you pay attention.
Right. Focus and really learn.
And lock in.
I tell people that, I think I said this on the last podcast, the last episode, a lot of folks, they think when they get their license, they're going to immediately start selling houses. You still have to put in the work, gain that knowledge, focus, like you said, even if you're doing it online, you still have to study what you're learning online. And if you're in person, you still have to study what you're learning in person.
Trust me, before I took my test, I had 4 notebooks this size full of notes.
Right.
And I feel like that's why I passed on the first time. So
you went crazy.
Yeah, take your notes, go over your notes.
Yeah.
And you'll pass.
Like I was harassing my girl. She was so tired of me. I'm like, hey babe, we gotta do this all night until I figure it out. So you still gotta learn and you still gotta focus.
Yeah.
Yes, Lord.
Okay. So after you get your license, well, really, no, before you get your license is when you should start thinking about what brokerage to choose.
I agree.
What advice can you give them about choosing a brokerage?
I'm gonna say this: when you're interviewing, because they always say they're interviewing you, but what you're doing is interviewing the brokerage.
Yes.
And I can kind of touch bases on me. I interviewed, I think, 4 brokerages before I got with Keller Williams.
Okay.
I always knew that I wanted to be around a brokerage that was active. A lot of people, a lot of engagement. And I got that the minute I walked in Keller Williams, right? We had Miss Nora up there. She greeted me and things in that nature. Shout out Miss Nora, by the way. And it was active. Not only that, they were speaking about training. I don't want to throw salt on any other brokerage, but they wasn't really telling me that they was going to train me, you know.
Okay.
So I think when you're interviewing your brokerages, see what's going to benefit you, you know, because when you're in school, you're learning how to pass the test.
Right.
And you're learning the language of real estate, right?
Right.
But it's a difference when you have to train on how to engage with a client in person. Every client is different. So you got to be, you know, you got to be ready for that.
Yeah, I can say the same for me. I actually was looking at small boutique brokerages,
Okay.
like based in the middle of Houston,
Okay.
and then also looking at Keller Williams and other big brokerages before I made a decision.
Right.
But what's crazy is, well, let me tell you how I came to my decision. So, me, doing the classes, I knew that I would need more
Right.
than just the classes I just took.
Right, the
Because you're
basics.
jumping into something new. So it's like,
Right.
okay, now what do I do?
Right.
So I was reading how Keller Williams, had the training
Right.
and everything. So I said, okay, let me interview a couple Keller Williams. Well, I was going to interview with the one closest to my house first, but I ended up interviewing at Keller Williams Professionals
Right.
first.
Right.
And that was my first
Right.
interview.
Right.
I walked through the door,
You were
Miss
sold.
Nora
Right.
sold me.
So,
And then I also talked to Larissa.
okay.
So
Give her.
she icing on the cake. Icing on the cake. So I knew, like, just from the time I walked in, the energy was right. I knew I would be getting a lot of training. And yeah, I was
Right.
sold.
Right.
So
Right.
it was a one-time thing for me. But a lot of people talk about the fees and everything.
Yeah.
But with Keller Williams, it's worth it. Because
Right.
you get so much training. You learn so much. Once I started training with Keller Williams, I was like, I was learning way more stuff.
You getting active, and I agree with you. I want to kind of touch bases on the fees.
Yeah.
I was just doing a CE class. We got to do it for our renewal every 2 years.
Every 2 years.
And I was in there talking to some agents, and they was kind of talking about Keller Williams fees and things in that nature. And I'm telling them, I said, the fees, when you're making money, you're not really worried about the fees, and that's just my take on it. Like, I'm producing at a point where I'm comfortable, where the fees, it doesn't bother me. You know what I mean? And you get what you pay for. That is a real thing.
Sure.
You go to these other brokerages and they tell you a flat fee. They like, oh, you pay $100 every transaction, but you get
no training. You get
come on now.
no extra this and that.
Right, no support. You in the middle of a contract with a client, $1 million client, and you don't even know what to do. Yes,
Yep.
Lord.
So
So get with a broker that's gonna train you, give you the right support, and things in that nature, man. Interview at least 3 brokerages before you pick your first brokerage. That's my
sounds
take.
good.
Yes, Lord.
Okay, so let's jump into the appearance. How should you carry, not just what you wear, but how should you carry yourself as a real estate agent or technically a
As a
realtor?
realtor.
Yeah.
When it comes to appearances, that's why I love the Keller Williams professional word. You gotta be professional at all times. Some of these, women, and not to throw salt on anybody, but they twerking and, doing things in that nature.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not professional.
True. But with that, it's okay to show your personality.
Right.
But just know you can't
Do too much. Yeah.
show the world.
Yeah, exactly. Too much. Because if you got $1 million client, he wants to be comfortable with him going through this transaction
He
with
wants
you.
to know his money is safe.
Yeah.
It's a good person. He doesn't have to worry about his money.
Right. Right. He don't got to worry about no scamming, no nothing in that nature. Not only that, your appearances as far as look. Right now I got a suit on. And I think if you want to make $1 million, you got to feel like $1 million. That's my take on it.
True. And then also you have to stay ready so you don't have to
Get ready. Yes, Lord.
Because you can get a phone call today.
Yep.
Hey, I want to go see this house.
Yep.
You can't just be looking raggedy. I mean,
Yep.
you can.
It's crazy. It's crazy that you say that because it is some agents out here producing and they got some sweet shorts on, But what I think is they already built their portfolio up.
True.
So,
True.
they have the.
They're comfortable with
Yes,
it. Which
yes.
is fine. I mean, it's really a come as you are thing. But if you know you want to get deals done, you want people to trust you,
Look
Be
appropriate.
professional.
Yeah, exactly. Be professional.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna use
Be
that
professional.
word. Be professional. Yes,
Okay.
Lord.
So after, really, no, you can start before you get your license, but the importance of relationships, which is something I had to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Real estate is not introverted, stay to yourself type of
Type of
thing.
mm-mm.
It's not. And it's something I had to learn.
Me too. Me too. Because I'm naturally introverted. People think I'm
Same.
extroverted. They think
Yeah, I don't know what they think about
I
me.
I can be extroverted,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm very very introverted.
Mm-hmm.
But I tell people that's coming in and they getting their license that this is a relationship business.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know,
Yes.
if I don't go out and shake a lot of hands, give some hugs, build relationships, be authentic, and have the other people believing in me, then I don't have no business.
True. True.
Simple.
Also, when we were learning in Miss Jeannie's class,
Shout out
once
Miss Jenny.
again, shout
Shout out
out to
Miss
Miss
Jenny.
Jeannie. Don't be a secret agent.
Right.
Wherever you go, let someone know
Mm-hmm.
that you are a real estate agent.
Mm-hmm.
It can just be a random person in the street. Hey, how are you? I'm good.
It's
Da da
crazy
da.
because the last few of my clients been like
Random people.
random.
Random.
I'm dressed like this. I maybe have my name badge on. We in a grocery store. There.
And that's one thing about me. I'll
Mm-hmm.
just go about my day, run errands. I done been to 5 different stores and ain't talked to nobody. But now I know, like, if I
Yeah.
walk in the store, I'm gonna talk to at
Better
least
say
one
something.
person.
Better say
At
something.
least one person, because the more people you know,
Yes.
the more business you can get.
And the thing about real estate, people always want homes.
Hmm.
The three
Or need something
need
pertaining
something
to real
pertaining.
estate.
Exactly. Exactly. They might be in a lease and just want some advice. Then you
Hmm.
give them the advice, and then when they're ready to buy, you done gave them that advice. Now they want to trust you as they agent to, get through the deal.
True. Or they want to join the business.
Exactly. Come on now.
And with Keller Williams, you're gonna make some
You
money
gonna
if
make
they
some
doing
money with that.
business. Yep. But
Exactly.
yes, always don't be a secret agent. That's
The more hands you shake, the more relationships you build, the more business you have.
facts, 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 facts.
Tap into that extroverted side. Yes,
Yes.
Lord. Okay.
All right, so let's talk about becoming an experienced agent. Personally, I feel like I'm growing out of the beginning stages.
Yes, Lord, you here. We're gonna speak it to existence.
Yes. But it took a lot of learning. You want to get around people that you see success in, that are getting things done. Pick up as much knowledge as you can. That way, when you get your clients and you get to talking more about real estate, you know what you're doing.
Right. Right.
You're not like, oh, I don't know what to tell this
Right.
person.
Yeah, you don't want to get in front of a client and that's when you're learning.
Mm-hmm.
Now, keep in mind, you're going to be learning with the clients.
Mm-hmm.
But I tell people, don't be scared to get your hands dirty.
Right.
And what I mean by that is don't be scared to bump your head.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I have learned a lot by just shadowing certain individuals, being in certain scenarios where I bumped my head, right? It don't take me one time to bump my head.
Yeah.
I bump it one time, I promise you I won't do it again. So I think the experience gains the knowledge, and once you have that knowledge, not only that, you are comfortable and you're confident. It's a certain energy that's there when you're confident and being authentic with the client. They believe you.
Right.
They're trusting you to
Right.
get the deal done. So I think gaining that knowledge and experience is super key.
True. True.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord.
What else we gonna talk about?
That's all we got.
That's all we got for the most part. You got some else?
Nah, that's all I got. I like to keep them, tuned in. This was very powerful in my opinion.
If y'all have any questions that y'all would like answered from us, whether you're an agent, a potential client, or you're just curious about what we do as real estate agents, feel free to comment and we'll answer them.
Reach out to us. Let's do it. All right, well, y'all stay tuned to the next episode. I hope y'all enjoyed this. We got more questions for y'all, and we also got more answers. Black Owl in the building.
Yes. That was good.
That was good?
I don't know.
I like it.